doing? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Savanna Stevie. I'm an intern here at Shine Pilates Studio.
And I'm Lucie Becus. I'm the owner of Shine Pilates Studio and an instructor.
And we're going to do a Q&A and just all kinds of different questions about Pilates.
Okay.
So to start off, what is Pilates?
So Pilates is a method of movement that uses the whole body. It's focused on our core, our center, which is all of this. Not a lot of people think of their core as being right here, but we use all of this as our core. And then we focus on moving the smaller muscles and not just the large muscles. So we're looking for balance and control and stabilization and just building that nice, symmetrical, stable body so that protects you from injury, makes you better prepared to do just about any other sport.
Okay, so I guess what muscles are you using during Pilates?
All of them. But a lot of the smaller muscles, and that's what I think surprises people when they can come into Pilates and be really strong from doing another sport or from being really athletic or working out in the gym, and then we target the little stabilizers in their shoulders and their hips and in their core, and that can be surprising because that can be something that maybe they haven't used before.
Okay, that kind of was one of my other questions, can it be used as a therapy?
Absolutely, and a lot of things that we do are similar to what physical therapists would prescribe to their patients. So we work well with physical therapists, and sometimes we're that next step after physical therapy before you go back to whatever else, and sometimes we're that forever step. And then other times we're just what you do now so that you never end up in physical therapy. So if you have a little bit of a cranky shoulder, well, we're going to work on exercises that are going to build a symmetrical shoulder and strong supported shoulder.
Okay. So what got you so interested in Pilates?
I was an athlete. I ran in college, high school and college, and then I started teaching spinning, and I knew that I really loved teaching, and I wanted to teach something else, but I didn't know what, so I started trying various different things, and for me it needed to be something that I saw the benefit in and that I would want to do myself if I was going to teach it. And so a friend of mine convinced me to try Pilates. I didn't even know what it was, and I went to a gym and I took a mat class, and I realized I couldn't do a lot of it. I had some abdominal surgery, and I didn't realize how weak I was in my core, and that I'd never really rehabbed because I'd never been told to rehab after that surgery. So after about a month of taking mat Pilates classes at the gym, I noticed major changes in myself that I had kind of given up on. So I was drinking the Kool-Aid and wanted to know more. So it was only a handful of months after I started taking Pilates that I realized I wanted to be an instructor and thought there's something magical here that other people need to know about.
So that kind of goes into another question. Are there different kinds of Pilates?
There's different kinds of training. So some people are trained classical, and that would be really true to what Joseph Pilates taught. And then there's contemporary, which is more how I was trained, and that's kind of taking the classical work and modifying it and making some changes to make it appropriate for all bodies. So if you're fit and healthy, you could easily do all the classical work, but if you have some things going on with your neck or your back or your hips, that may not be appropriate for you. So I think contemporary makes it more approachable for more bodies. Instead of expecting you to be able to do an exercise, we modify the exercise for you.
Okay.
They're both really good. I've done a little bit of classical training too, and that's great knowledge to have and to use, but I go a little more contemporary.
Okay, so explain what this machine is.
So this is the reformer, and so this was developed by Joseph Pilates, and if we took this piece out, it would be a piece of equipment that moves back and forth. And originally Joseph Pilates was working with injured soldiers laying in a hospital bed, so he put springs and hooks on the corners so they could move their arms and legs and rehabilitate in the bed. So that's part of why we lay down, is it comes from that. And the way the footboard is positioned, it's the same angle that you have your knees at to come from sitting to standing. So it helps you practice that and your foot alignment for walking. So there's a lot of really cool things about it, but with this piece of equipment, we can work your whole body, and we can also do it in a safe way. So if you come here with a limitation, we can figure it out on the reformer. If you come here, you're super healthy and you're training for the Olympics, we can do it on the reformer. So it really is adaptable.
So no matter what. And the springs,
So the springs provide tension, and I think the misnomer there is that people think if we put more weight on, it gets harder. But as you've seen, it gets harder when we make it lighter, because then it's more you.
It is more you. It's kind of the opposite when lifting weights.
Exactly,
You don't want the heaviest. Okay, so what is the difference between Pilates and yoga? And why would someone take a Pilates class over yoga?
Yeah, so what I've always heard is that yoga was originally developed to prepare the body for meditation, whereas Pilates is more about finding balance and symmetry and control and stability in the body. So they're seeking different purposes.
Okay.
And a lot of times yoga is a stationary movement where you're holding a pose, and Pilates is a dynamic movement where we're going in and out. We're not staying and holding a position. So we get our flexibility from moving in and out of it. Each time maybe you get a little bit farther.
Okay.
And for me, I've found that if you're not a super flexible person, Pilates might be a better fit for you, because you don't have to have a certain beginner level of flexibility to be successful in Pilates. You can be very inflexible, and we can work with that. Yeah, and me too. I'm not the most flexible person, but I've gotten better with Pilates.
Yeah.
Whereas I've struggled some in yoga because I don't have the hip flexibility for certain poses. So for people that feel like, oh, I'm not flexible enough for Pilates, well, there's no entry level flexibility that you have to have. You just come as you are,
And
we'll go from there. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's actually really cool. And going back to the machines,
Yeah.
Are there other types of machines that people
So
use?
yes, we have in this studio, we have an armchair, an exo chair, we have a spine corrector, we have a tower, and we have a pedal. And there's also, I don't have a ladder barrel, and I don't have a trapeze table. So these are all things that came from Joseph Pilates. And we have circuit classes sometimes where we move around and use the other equipment.
Oh.
They all use the same principles. They use similar springs and similar movements, but they're just different ways of doing the same work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just you can change it up whenever
Right.
you want. Okay. So if first time going to a Pilates class, what do you wear?
Just whatever you would wear to exercise.
Okay.
I always say, yoga pants,
Some folks that we can
yeah, and I
flexible.
always caution the guys, please don't wear your baggy shorts because
Yes.
your feet are gonna be up in the air. So,
I
it
Oh,
has
that's not
happened.
good.
So,
Oh, I bet it has.
Um,
Okay, so what can one expect when coming and taking your class?
So it's going to be about an hour, and we'll go through, we'll introduce you to the equipment, we'll go through that, we'll ask you anything about your body that I need to know about and any modifications we need to make. And then we're going to do a full body workout. So we're going to work from head to toe, everything on the body. And you're going to get some flexibility, you're going to get some balance, you're going to get some strength, you're going to get, probably gonna throw some planks in there.
Yeah.
So, but each class is gonna be different because I try to customize for the people that are there. So if you
Okay.
need extra challenge, we're gonna make it more challenging. And if you're just starting and you need a little more basic, we're gonna make it more basic.
And they just need to let you know that.
Well, I can kind of assess
You can
that.
kind of assess
And
it.
usually people will tell me I haven't worked out in 2 years, or I do this and that all the time. So you
Yeah.
kind of gauge where they're coming from. So.
Okay, so let's see. What makes Shine Pilates Studios so unique compared to other Pilates studios?
I feel like we take a more personalized, unique approach to our clients in that we don't have, this is the workout we're teaching today. We look at the bodies in front of us and we always ask for requests, and we can, modify on the fly. If you walk in and say, I'm really feeling achy in my low back, we've got things we can do for that. And we get to know our people, so we know who has what and who needs what and who's looking, what their goals are.
Yeah.
So everybody can be working on the same goal in the group class because we can accommodate and work for that. I don't ever want someone to come into a class and we're doing something that maybe is not right for you,
Yeah.
and for you to just have to feel like, well, you just have to sit that exercise out. So we're gonna plan it ahead of time and figure out how to keep you involved and safe while we're doing something challenging for someone else, so we can modify, and you don't all have to be doing the same thing at the same time.
Okay, so it's like very, I can tell it's like very close knit. Like
Yeah, it's like
especially like-
community.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you'll know most people coming in
Yes,
and out.
yes.
So I like that. So last question, can anyone do Pilates?
I think so. I mean, unless you've been told by your doctor that you need to not do anything, but most folks, even if they're being treated for something, we can talk to their doctor, we can take direction from that, we can take direction from a physical therapist, and they might want to, if they have a lot of limitations, they might want to start with private lessons just so we can figure that out. But yeah, young, old, we've got 85-year-olds, sometimes children come.
Yeah,
so,
I saw some.
yeah, so it's all ages, male, female. I mean, there's a misnomer that it's for women, but Joseph Pilates was a man.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of professional male athletes that use Pilates. So I think it's really good for anyone, and I think it's an exercise that you can do for the entirety of your life, whereas you might age out of certain exercises that get to be hard on your joints, or just require too much from you. But Pilates you can continue to do, and it can continue to carry you through safely.
And you just work with what you can do.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
85-year-old woman
Is doing, she's doing almost what you would be doing, because she's been doing it for so long that she's maintained that.
Maintains that strength and
Yeah.
balance. Well, that's all the questions I have. So thank you.
It's good
Thank you for
talking to you.
answering all my questions.
All right. Find us at Shine Pilates.